Greetings. My name is Tiberius Julius Albus Panterra, and I am one of the most important men throughout all of human history. And you probably have no idea who I am. But as soon as you hear my story, you will understand how important I am, and you will be unlikely to forget me. I was born in 22 BC in the city of Sidon, in the kingdom of Tyre. I was a desperate Jew living in a Gentile nation. When I was a young man, I was forced to join the Roman auxiliary army stationed in Syria, where I served as a standard bearer for the famous Syrian archers for over 40 years until I retired in 40 AD. I then lived out my days near my last posting in the country you call Germany. But the reason I am so important is because of what happened early in my service to the Roman army. During the final days of Herod the Great, there was a tax revolt centered in the city of Sepphoris in the Judean Galilee. It was only a short distance from where I was born. The legion I was consigned to was sent down from Syria to put down the revolt. While there, I met a young Jewish woman of about 14 years old at a well that supplied a small village only a few miles outside of Sepphoris. Being Jewish myself, I was anxious to meet other Jews in the area, and I found this young woman very interesting. And we began a friendship that wound up having historic consequences. You see, young Miriam, or Mary as she was known, was already betrothed to a much older man. Nevertheless, Mary and I became quite close, and she would perform various services for me, such as cutting my hair, mending my uniform, for a fee, of course. I would prefer not to share any other details of our relationship, but we were quite close. And if it wasn't for her betrothal and my service in the Roman army, which prohibited marriage, I would have liked to have married her. In fact, as a Jew, I would have been obligated to marry her based on the intimate nature of our relationship. But that was not to be, because once my cohorts and I destroyed Sepphoris and the revolt was put down, the army I served in was restationed to Germania, and I never returned to my homeland. I did hear word, though, that a young child was born to Mary soon after I left, and I heard from my family that this young man sometime later visited my hometown of Sidon and healed the daughter of a local Syro-Phoenician woman. By now, you might realize why I am so important. But if not, you can read more about me in the 2nd century text by Origen of Alexandria called The Refutation of Celsus. Or you can visit my tomb in a museum called Romer Halle in Bad Kreuznach, Germany. This tombstone details my service in the Roman army, and you will see some very familiar dates on that tombstone. Or, if you like, you can read about me in a book by Professor James Tabor called The Jesus Dynasty, and it has all of my details listed in one book. And I'm sure that once you investigate who I was, you will see how important I am. That is, if you choose to believe my story. Thank you.